Hi, it's Pete from Red Seas Fire. I'm here to talk you through a couple of riffs from our song Timeframes, which is probably the most rhythmically challenging track from our debut record. There's a couple of standout riffs for me personally that I think really sum up what we do as a band. The first being the accelerating riff that happens after the solo. The riff was composed mostly from a rhythmic perspective, probably more how a drummer writes ideas, and as a result we implement a lot of dead notes in between the melodic moments. Melodically, this riff is very simple. We use the notes B, C, D and F, albeit in varying octaves and using tapping and hammer-ons to mix things up a bit. Timing wise, the whole thing's in 4/4, but the tempo gradually increases throughout the riff, a total of about 30 BPM. The second riff is the groove that we end the song on. On the surface, this riff seems quite straightforward, but it is in fact entirely made up of quintuplets. What this means is that instead of each beat being divided into 4, we instead divide it into 5. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you find this difficult to grasp at first, try splitting the 5 into an even smaller group of more digestible chunks, such as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. After we have the quintuplets down, we then syncopate it to try and make it a little more interesting. Melodically, this is again rather simple. We use the low B as a pedal tone, and then we harmonise this with notes from the octave above. For this riff, we are palm muting quite far back on the bridge, almost so that you're not even palm muting at all. This creates a sound that we affectionately have like to call purring. For the very last repetition, we choke the note as much as we can to create a very tight syncopation, and technique-wise, this entire riff is down-picked.
Hi guys, it's Nolly from Red Seas Fire, and I'm going to show you how to play the solo from our song Timeframes. This is pretty much the only point on the record that I get to cut loose a little bit, so I wanted to get some faster licks in there. The backing's fairly forgiving to solo over. It's a steady 12/8 feel with a basic slow chord progression to play around. First of all, I'll show you how it sounds and looks at full speed. Right, so although it's fairly short, there's a lot going on. Briefly, it can be broken down into 4 parts though. So firstly, we've got the use of an E minor arpeggio superimposed over the root key of B to highlight the 4th and -6 degrees of the scale. Secondly, we've got the use of bends during the middle section for a more exotic sound. Thirdly, the slippery legato and tapping lick to build tension before the fast ascending blues scale run across the top 2 strings, which is grouped into septuplets. And finally, we've got a slightly eruption-y moment to follow the ascending chords that underpin the last bar of the solo section.